because it wasn't the first thing that came out their mouth was, I can't believe 19 kids die. They go, well, this is what happens when you're not protected at all times. You better not take my guns.
Yeah.
That took precedence before having a conversation about 19 children losing their lives.
Exactly.
Which bothers me.
Yeah.
It doesn't even piss me off. It makes me sad.
It makes me sad and it infuriates me.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, where does that mindset stem from? Entitlement.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. I am back from South Korea, the homeland, the motherland, the place where I was born.
But not happy to be back.
No, America's a little,
little unstable.
Listen, if you guys haven't ever, or just you've never traveled to, I don't know, Asia, it's weird. Listen, I love America.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that America has done for me, in terms of opportunities that it's given my family and all this other stuff. It's all great. It just fucking sucks here. Listen, it's crazy how technologically advanced South Korea is in terms of how efficient it is.
Yeah.
Specifically, public transportation. The public transportation is pretty amazing in terms of, like, if you want to get a taxi, grab a taxi. If not a taxi, then you can use a subway.
Right.
And the subway is faster than the taxi. And even the buses are faster than the taxi because the buses have a separate lane in which they can travel and there's nobody else allowed to be in that lane besides the buses. Yeah. There's almost no need for a car unless you want to go to the airport. But even then, you can go to the airport on the train.
Yeah. So
having a car is almost useless.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, it's a lot more condensed because
I don't give a fuck. All right? I don't give a fuck. I heard there's this whole, I'm not sure if it's a conspiracy or if it's fact, but the reason why, America has terrible public transportation system is specifically because of the gas industry.
Makes sense.
Like the gas industry, I heard like in LA too, where I was reading, and once again, this is something I read in passing at night, when I was going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But the train system was supposed to be developed in a very efficient way, but somehow the car companies and gas companies got in the way in terms of like legislation to fuck it all up. And that's why we have the worst public transportation system here. Yeah. Which it doesn't make sense because if we're supposed to be the most advanced nation, something as simple as good public transportation should be readily available.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's something that I feel like major metropolitan cities in America are pretty much lacking. Well, I guess aside from New York, right?
But even New York's
it's not good, but it's not like the worst. Let's say New York versus LA. LA's public transportation is garbage. It's non-existent pretty much.
It's like when I go into a train in Korea, I feel as clean as I felt when I walked in. You know what I mean? When you walk into a train in New York, you've caught 17 versions of COVID.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
And you might see some, a crazy dude masturbating, with his pants off.
Hey, free show, baby. Let's go. It's kind of crazy, man. And when I was in Korea, and we're going to talk about this on the podcast because obviously, I think it should be talked about, and we've definitely touched on this subject before. But when I was in South Korea, when I'm traveling. I'm doing my thing. And obviously I was uploading content over there because I was just excited to show people the stuff that I got to eat and see.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you did a good job with on the reels.
So what the funny thing was? I actually brought my camera with me.
Yeah.
I used it one day and I left it.
Everything was on the phone.
It was on the phone. It's too heavy.
I know. It's inconvenient, man.
And also too, in Korea and also Japan, people prefer their privacy. You can't just whip out a phone and start recording people.
Right.
And you would have to ask them. And even then when you did ask, they would feel uncomfortable. But if it's a phone, it's a little different. Like there's no way I would have been able to bring my DSLR on the subway and film everybody there.
Yeah, exactly.
They would have been like, excuse me, like don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's how it was in Japan too. It was kind of hard. So I kind of remembered that. And I decided to just use my phone. And I got a lot of footage in the restaurant and other places that I wouldn't have been able to get with a camera.
Yeah. But honestly, too, these days, like, you don't really need the extra camera.
If you're trying to let your content live on Instagram, you don't need a DSLR.
Right.
You don't. And nobody gives a fuck either. Yeah. Right? You just have to just add color to it, use like Visco, and then be able to make it look a certain way. I like the vintage, like super 1990s, like VHS look.
Right.
So I was, emulating like Fujifilm type of stuff, which I thought it looked great.
Yeah.
So you don't really need that. But I was in Korea and then apparently like the whole world was exploding while I was there. Right. Because I wasn't looking at the news. And when I came back, I found out The shooting that happened was when I was here, and it was literally after I got out of the Dudes Behind the Foods podcast with Tim, and we were getting a burger, and then on the screen Tim was like, "Yo, look," and at the time it said 12 kids were dead. Right, that number is now 19.
Yeah,
and then 2 staff members, I believe, or 2 teachers, or whoever it was.
Yeah,
which is fucking nuts. But even before we even touched that, there was 2 previous shootings in the 2 weeks that I was in Korea.
Well. Not to mention, bro, that with just the school shootings, this is the 27th one this year. This fucking year.
Shit.
In 2022. That's at least the 27th shooting. You know what I mean? So every time we see shit like this happen, and we touched up on this in December when we were talking about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, here's another fucking mass shooting.
Yeah.
Well, whether it was at the school, at the fucking supermarket, at a church, like it's another fucking day in America. And it's like, at what point do we say it is like enough is enough? Like it's bad enough as it is that people are dying, but when it's fucking children, innocent children who are at school, and our thing is, well, we're not going to fucking do anything with gun reform laws. What we're going to do is we're going to teach the kids how to hide, what to do in a shooter situation, an active shooter situation, how to run away. And it's like, well, good luck. Now you're prepared. Now you're equipped with the necessary tools to how to avoid.
With this, if you guys don't know, so there was a school out in Texas. I don't know which city. Uvalde, Texas.
Yeah.
There was, I think he was Hispanic, right?
Yeah, he was.
It's a Hispanic male. He actually had like a bulletproof vest on, automatic or semi-automatic rifle. And I don't understand what the motivation was behind it, to why he did it. And I don't think nobody will know because they had to gun him down.
Yeah.
But essentially when we were watching it on the news, there was 12 kids that were reported dead, and that number jumped by 7. It was 19 kids were murdered.
You know, this motherfucker killed his own grandma too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That same day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so he was just out for blood.
He was on some shit, you know? And you know what? When we talk about these shootings, we don't ever fucking mention the names of these shooters because these motherfuckers don't deserve that kind of attention and recognition ever.
Yeah.
They'll be fucking nameless like the pieces of shit that they are. And this guy, unfortunately, I believe he took his own life too. So he's not going to face any repercussion or jail time or whatever.
Oh, I thought the cop shot him down.
Or maybe it was the cop. I don't know. All I know is he's dead.
That's the weird thing too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is, sadistic of me or because I hate this human being so much.
Yeah.
I don't want them to die. I think that they should live.
Fucking rot in jail for the rest of their life,
rot
right?
in jail, be tortured or something, because it sucks that this person gets to do what they do because they already don't care about their life.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't care about their life, then they should have it, not because it's something that they deserve to live, but they need to live with their consequences. And you know what? I'll tell you this, the human mind is fragile. You could torture the fuck out of somebody.
Oh, for sure.
So when I found out that he was shot down or gunned down and he died, I was pissed. I'm like, no, he needs to live.
Yeah.
He needs to live because he needs to suffer through every fucking thing possible in order for retribution to take place.
It's too small of a price to pay for what they've done.
Yeah.
It's too easy. It's too fucking easy for them to just lose their life after committing a heinous crime like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Steve Kerr gave a really passionate speech about it yesterday in the press conference leading up to, the Western Conference Finals. And, people don't realize the reason why Steve Kerr is so passionate about the, gun violence is that his father was a victim of gun violence. His father was assassinated.
Wow.
Yeah. He got shot by 2 guys. I think he was at the University of Beirut. And then it was kind of like an attack against America of sorts. They were targeting Americans, I guess. And his father was, I think, a professor at the university. And then he got gunned down. So, Steve Kerr, one, has a personal connection to it. But everything he was saying was so fucking valid about like, enough, man. 50 senators are holding the American public hostage when 90% of Americans, regardless of political affiliation, want universal background checks for guns. But because these motherfucking politicians like Mitch McConnell want to hold on to their power, these motherfuckers will not even vote on the bill. They just fucking leave it. Yet 19 motherfucking kids, 19 more kids have to die
Wait, you don't have to go through a background check before you get a gun?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like places, like buying a shotgun. You could just fucking go to Walmart and buy a shotgun, bro.
Without a background check?
No, you could just fucking buy it.
Because I don't know anything about guns, right? Like it's not that I don't care to know. It's just that, when you kind of grow up in a lifestyle where, you know a lot of people that were killed, you kind of get scared of that object in general, right? And I tend not to be in places where, I know a lot of people hate to hear this. People who are very pro-gun, they're like, well, you don't know when things are going to happen. And, you are 100% right. And I'm not saying I don't own a gun per se, but I don't know too much about guns. I don't know if having to have, get the license or whatever, and the background check is stuff that's pertaining to California. Is that?
Well, it does vary state by state.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously the laws. Yeah, some places are a little bit more lax about it. Some places are, the states that are very, let's say, tend to be right-leaning, want to have more liberal gun rights. Right?
I heard that in Texas too. Like you can gift somebody a gun and they could legally obtain it. I don't know which parts of Texas, but I heard that's true.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. And
fact check that though.
Yeah, and look, man, it's a tricky fucking situation, because to say that gun reform laws don't work is complete fucking bullshit. Look at all the developed nations that exist that have these gun violence incidents, these mass shootings, right? We're by far ahead of all of them, right? Why is that? Because guns are more readily available here. Now, I forget if it was Australia or if it was in the UK, but after I think it was a school shooting incident that had happened back in the day.
It was like Australia or New Zealand. I forget.
Yeah, they voluntarily gave their guns up.
Yeah.
They said, you know what? Nah, we don't. Owning a gun is not as important as preventing something like this from happening.
I mean, the hard part is like, and I kind of sat and thought about this, and this also kind of coincides with my trip to Korea. It only reaffirmed my idea or the thought, and I wonder if people agree with this, that nobody has a singular identity of what it means to be an American, right? Like we're not really like a homogenous country in terms of not just political identity, but just our identity as what it is to be an American, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me, in my personal opinion, I feel like guns are probably the one thing that's attached to your Americanness. Yeah. You take my fucking gun, you're going to take me to the grave too.
Yeah.
And so when somebody hears the idea of gun reform, what they hear is like, well, you're trying to strip away my American identity. And the weird thing about the American identity too, and I'm, wrapping it back to the trip in South Korea, is that when you ask somebody who's Korean, and mind you, this is the country's a lot smaller than America is, right? And also the history is a lot deeper. It's a lot longer. Korea has an identity of what Korean people are. When somebody says 대한민국, right? Like they have a certain pride that comes along with it. I was telling Edric the story when I was in Korea. Before you had to leave, you have to take a COVID test before you get back into the States. It can't be an over-the-counter one. It has to specifically be a PCR test. So you can't get it at a clinic. You can't get it at the hospital. You have to outdoor site. You have to get it at a clinic. Went to the clinic, and this lady was asking us about our trip, and this was very poignant in terms of my idea of what I believe a lot of Korean people feel, is that she wanted to ask us how our trip was, because she wanted to make sure that our identity or what we thought of South Korea was something of a positive one. So if we didn't have a good meal or a good time, she was going to buy us a meal before we left back to the States, right? And that kind of threw me off, because it wasn't that she was doing something good it was the goodness of her heart, but her objective was, these people need to know how great our country is.
I want to leave a positive impression on what our country and culture is about, right? That's kind of the motive behind.
Yeah. And tourism in South Korea, from what I've seen from a lot of people who are there, they enjoy it because it's money, and they want people to understand that Korea is a great place to be, and Korean people are awesome. Yeah. And that's kind of like how the tourism mentality is over there. From what I felt and when I was having conversations with these people, right? And it wasn't just one person, that person. There was like 2 or 3 other people too. So in total, like maybe 4. When you come to America, I don't think we had that same type of strength and identity here. Yeah. Our identity is different from my version of what it is to be American is vastly different from the person down the block, and so on and so forth. So when somebody tries to take away this gun thing, right, is the only thing that I say, it's like, oh, this might be tied to the American identity, taking away my guns. And the reason why that bothers me is because the way that people responded to this situation for people who are hyper pro gun owners is something I didn't really appreciate, because it wasn't the first thing that came out their mouth was, I can't believe 19 kids die. They go, well, this is what happens when you're not protected at all times. You better not take my guns.
Yeah.
That took precedence before having a conversation about 19 children losing their lives.
Exactly.
Which bothers me.
Yeah.
It doesn't even piss me off. It makes me sad.
It makes me sad and it infuriates me.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, where does that mindset stem from? Entitlement. Fucking entitlement, right? This is my God-given fucking right. The Second Amendment. My right to bear arms, you are not going to take that away from me. Versus, where's the fucking compassion? Where's the sympathy? Where's the thought of, oh my fucking God, man. 19 more children have died now. Do I really need my guns like this? Or am I, as a collective group, right?
Yeah.
Be willing to just forfeit it now in the name of keeping children safe, keeping people safe, in the name of peace. But that thought never fucking crosses the minds of these pro-gun people. It's always, well, that's why you got to have a gun to protect yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, that wouldn't happen around me. Well, okay, so where are all these fucking good guys with guns to stop all of these things from happening? Where are these motherfuckers then? Why are all of these mass shootings happening all the time, yet you got all these motherfuckers who are saying, not on my watch. Where were you for this then? Where the fuck were you?
I think the hard part is like, America is so fucked in terms of gun ownership and gun laws, in terms of like I said, it's so attached to the American identity that in order for you to take away these guns from people, it's almost damn near impossible now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just like,
for sure. People are too stupid.
It's like, oh, this is a great solution. But in order for that to happen, it goes back to my staying of, we need to have a homogenous idea of what it is to be an American. And people need to take pride in that. Yeah. So when a country who's, albeit a lot smaller, but they have a strong cultural identity or a country identity, they can come together and say, this is for the better good of our country. Whoa, hold on. Before we continue, my friends, hey, you guys heard of Secret Society before? That's SCRTSOCIETY, a contemporary fashion basic line that started up by me and my friends. Listen, I started up Secret Society with my buddies because fashion basics never die. And, you know, in a world full of industries and fashion companies that try to sell you stuff that's overpriced, that you don't get what your money is worth, we wanted to challenge those high-end brands by doing what they do and doing it better, but at a better price, better quality. And it's just, the clothes are freaking dope. If you haven't copped your Secret Society gear, you don't know what you're missing. Fashion basics are for everybody. We don't like to exclude anybody. Guy, girl, whatever, unisex, we have it all. Check our shit out. It's amazing. Every day that I'm on this podcast, I'm rocking something Secret Society, not just because I own a part of it, but because I truly enjoy the clothes. And I wouldn't be rocking something that I didn't love and enjoy. Check out Secret Society. That's SCRTSOCIETY.com. And guess what? Our spring/summer launch is launching next week. So cop that gear. We have vintage hues. They look so fucking dope. And let me tell you something, man. When you get our shit, people gonna ask, hey, where you get that? And you be like, Secret Society. So Secret Society, that's SCRTSOCIETY.com. Contemporary fashion basics for everyone. There's been so many, first of all, like the amount of illegal guns that are circulating in this country, it's why it's so impossible to take legal arms back, because there's so much fucking illegal weaponry here.
Dude, yes. Well, speaking of illegal guns, I'll say too, like when I was younger, the only reason why I didn't get myself strapped was because of recognizing my anger issues when I was younger and knowing what that might lead to if I have a piece on me. And even though the idea behind having the piece on me might be to like protect myself, one bad incident, one bad situation might lead to a loss of life, even me losing my life, you know? So I just avoided that altogether. Like, you know what? I don't need to go down that path, right? I don't need the gun to protect myself. Like, I'm going to do without.
I wonder why people, and I'm not sure if this is the actual case, what the reason is behind having universal background checks for as it being just mandated across all states. It's not left up to the state. Like everybody should have a universal background check, because that's not even the idea of taking a gun away. It's making sure that these guns don't get into the wrong hands.
Exactly.
So I wonder what the reason behind that is. Is it because that's just loose legislation that people fear that they won't be able to get a gun at all? Because if you have a background check, and most like everything in this country is, these background checks, even for when you get a driver's license, are so fucking loose.
Yeah.
It would be nice if there was a standard for it though. Like somewhat.
But it's not that hard to fucking get a gun in America. It's really not that hard. And that's why these things happen time and time again. And every time, like you just said, every time it happens, you got a bunch of people coming, making sure, hey, that's why I got my gun, because this shit isn't going to happen on my watch. And if anybody tries to come around and harm me or my family, I got my gun to protect myself, versus compassion, right? That's what's so fucked, man, about being in America. And like you said earlier, I love this country. I was born here, and like the freedoms that I have, the rights that I have here, I appreciate it. But a lot of the times, man, I feel very disheartened as well when I see all the shit that's going on in this country and a lot of people's reactions to it. And there's no like progressive thoughts on how to make it better. It's, no, fuck that. I'm going to hold on to what I think is right. There's no open-mindedness, And like going back to the whole story that you were sharing about the doctor, making sure like that person or a couple had a meal to leave a good impression. That's because what we talked about earlier, their pride in their culture wants them to leave a positive impression of it, right?
Yeah.
The pride here of being an American is of entitlement and almost elitism. Like we're better than you.
Yeah.
Our country is number one. America, I mean, come on. We know that, right? America number one, right?
Yeah.
Always the best at everything and anything.
I think that kind of goes into my idea of what I either was expecting or wasn't expecting when I traveled to South Korea, right? Because we're kind of, force-fed this idea that, listen, America is the best at everything. We are the fucking shit. But then when I went into the South Korea, it's not that I was expecting South Korea to be trash. I just didn't realize how dope it was to that extent.
What are we the best at though? Let's be honest. Are we the best at
we're good at
student loans? Yes. We're the best at
we're good at
mass shootings.
Mass shootings.
We're the best at highest cost of education.
Yeah.
Yes. We're the best at most debt. Yes. Yeah. Those are the things we're number one at. What are the things that actually fucking matter where we rank at in terms of happiness
military
level?
Strength.
Yeah, there you go. Military. That's what it's always all about. And it goes kind of hand in hand with the gun thing, right? But yeah, happiness level, the amount of vacation people have in a year. We rank the fucking bottom on all that shit, And it's like, so what really makes America number one? The fact that if you try to fuck with us, we will blow you to fucking smithereens off the face of the planet.
Well, that's where a lot of our money goes into, right?
Yeah.
Government-wise. Like
military
it goes into
and
our
defense.
military, I mean, there's definitely people who are in the military or somebody who knows more about this that could probably explain, where this funding goes and why it's important.
Well, I mean, look, man, when we see things like the situation in Ukraine, with Russia invading them, right? We look at it and it's like, well, that's wrong on every single level, right? And then you look at a place like America, dude, our hands aren't clean. We got fucking blood on our hands too. There was a gaffe made by George W. recently who was actually condemning the whole Russian invasion of Ukraine, but he misspoke and he said Iraq. So he said all this shit and then he goes, well, I mean, it's true. So he publicly admitted that the war on Iraq was a fabricated war and it was completely wrong to do. And it's like, well, yeah.
Too late, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's what everybody had said, but you just fucking confirmed it now,
I mean, that's the hard part too, like, because three pretty crazy mass shootings within 2 weeks is nuts, man.
It is.
There was the one that happened pretty close to us in the OC where it was the Taiwanese church out in the OC.
Yeah.
And there was a story about a doctor there who tried to step in and save people.
Killed.
And he got fucking killed because he tried to be a hero.
Yeah.
And I heard too, when I was reading certain things too, they go, see, if he had a gun, he could have stopped them, but he didn't. Which, yeah, I get, but I don't know.
If we had no guns, it wouldn't have happened, period. Right? Let's not skip that part. Let's not go to the part where, well, if he had a gun, it wouldn't have. If the motherfucking crazy ass didn't have a gun though, it wouldn't have happened, period.
Were they saying that this was race motivated?
It wasn't race related. It was I don't know if you call it race. So it was a Chinese guy who was anti-Taiwanese.
Oh, it was a Chinese guy?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So it was he was very pro-China and very anti-Taiwan. And
but okay, that doesn't even fucking make sense.
Yeah.
You know why? Because what is the purpose of China being anti-Taiwan? What purpose does that serve?
Because right now, and which is a sensitive topic, is
Taiwan doesn't want to be a part of China, right?
China doesn't want to be, or Taiwan doesn't want to be a part of China. They want to be their own independent country, so to speak. And Biden kind of
backed it up, saying if you invade, we're going to back up Taiwan.
It's the first time he said explicitly that he would back them up militarily. Like he would act militarily. And then he backtracked a little bit. But yeah, it's under China's one China policy.
Yeah.
Where it says this is all a part of China. But Taiwan is saying, nah, bro, we've been kind of doing our own thing for a while. But then some of these very pro-China people are like, nah, you guys belong to us.
Which, that's what I'm saying. Doesn't make sense for you to go ahead and kill people who are part of your countrymen then. If the objective is you're not Taiwanese, you're actually Chinese. The objective to go in and murder people who are your kindred countrymen doesn't make any sense. It's counterintuitive.
I think in their mind, they're trying to wipe out the people who have that pro-Taiwan stance.
Then go to Taiwan, bitch.
Yeah. Because there are people in Taiwan who are
pro-China?
Yeah. Who don't have any qualms about saying, yeah, we're a part of China. But then you have I forgot if it's like the Green Party or some shit. I forget what the colors are, who are very pro-Taiwan. And it's like, no, we're our own thing. We're our own entity. You guys, we're separate from you guys. You know? It's shit like, I mean, I know people from Taiwan who look down on mainlanders. Like,
oh, I know a lot of people from Taiwan.
Like, don't you ever fucking call me Chinese.
Well, you know? That's the thing too. I had a friend, she said she was Taiwanese, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know what Taiwanese was.
Yeah, me too. Growing up, yeah, I didn't either.
And so I kind of, I didn't understand how deep that emotion and feeling was.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I read the history, right? Very loosely, and I don't remember now. But all I know is that there is an indigenous people of Taiwan, right? And they were basically pushed out to the fringes.
Yeah.
And people in China took over. And these indigenous Taiwanese people, they're Taiwanese.
Yeah.
And so when she says, I'm Taiwanese, I'm like, no, you're Chinese. And she took like offense to that. This is the girl I was dating, by the way. And she was like, no, I'm not Chinese. I was like, wait, what do you mean you're not Chinese? Like you're not an indigenous Taiwanese person. Like I was explaining to her in my eyes, because I didn't know about the history and how they felt about it, was that's like saying like, you're telling me right now that you're Native American just because you're a white person that came on a boat and you settled here and saying you're a Native American person. That's what it sounds like to me. But she was trying to explain to me, she goes, no, I'm from Taiwan. I'm Taiwanese. I'm like, no, you're Chinese. The Taiwanese people are there. They're indigenous. They're Taiwanese people. And I didn't really understand like the socio-political implications of the things that I was saying.
Yeah.
Right. Which I get it. I understand. But I wish I could redo that.
Yeah, dude. Some people take like great offense to if they're Taiwanese and you call them Chinese. Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah, don't you
call me
dare.
a dirty Chinese. I am Taiwanese.
So that guy was trying to kill them because of his pro-China sentiments.
Yes, because of let me see this guy's name. Let me see. The doctor, by the way, was I believe John Chang was his name.
Shout outs to John Chang, man. Rest in
John
peace,
Chang.
bro.
Yeah. Was a U.S. citizen who actually grew up in Taiwan, but he was motivated by his hatred of the self-governing island. So he was actually Taiwanese himself, I guess. And he hated, his family was reportedly among those forcibly removed from mainland China to Taiwan. Okay, so they were forcibly removed. And so he, I guess, had that very strong feeling, that sense of identity of being Chinese. And he's like, fuck these Taiwanese people. I'm going to murder them.
But he's a crazy person.
He's a crazy guy. He's a crazy person, clearly. A lot of the times, no, not a lot of the times. I would say fucking 100% of the time.
It's a crazy person.
Yeah, it's a crazy person.
The idea that somebody who's that mentally unstable can get their hands on like semi-automatic weapons is fucking nuts to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. And even before that, you said this is one I know nothing about.
Buffalo, New York.
There was something that happened in Buffalo, New York, which that was supposed to be a racially motivated
incident. It was a white kid, again, who will remain nameless. Fuck this kid. He basically had this long-standing like pro-white stance, right? And he was buying into the idea of, I forget what the actual term is called, but it's like this idea that the white race is dying out, and they got to make sure that this doesn't happen.
For real, bro?
No, there's an actual term for it. I forgot what it was called. But it's the idea behind it is that the white race is dying out. That would make sense. So he targeted this area based on kind of the demographics.
The population of black people there.
Yeah, and he knew that there would be black people there.
Is it true? I'm not. This could just be me reading things and me not kind of looking into it carefully.
Mm-hmm.
That he wrote N-word with a hard R on his rifle. That it was written on
that.
there?
I don't know. That I'm not sure.
Brain farts. This podcast is brought to you by Raycon. My friends keep this podcast going by supporting our sponsors, and Raycon has been sponsoring us for quite a while because I love them. Just came back from South Korea. Guess what I used on the plane to watch my anime? That's right, your boy is an anime fanatic. I watched Jujutsu Kaisen with my Raycon earbuds, and guess what? Amazing. They were so light and comfortable, forgot they were in my ear, and I just fell asleep right on the plane. That's awesome. Raycon's everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. With optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, these earbuds are so comfortable, and no, they will not budge. Trust me, I love my shit. Biking, boxing, whatever you call it, they're in my ear, ready to go every day. Check out Raycon's wireless earbuds. My guess is that you're going to want to leave them a 5-star review too. Go to buyraycon.com/brain today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/brain to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/brain.
I know he had like a whole thing that he wrote. And
he had a manifesto?
Yeah, he did have a
Jesus
manifest.
Christ.
Well, I don't know if they were calling it a manifesto, but it might have been just like his journals, like his diaries, or just writings that he had written about his thoughts and ideas.
He had a journal? Fucking
I think
pussy.
so. So I don't know if it was like a
Are you gonna be a mass murderer? Have a journal, a diary, you little pussy.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a journal or a manifesto, but yeah, he clearly had these ideas and thoughts that were very pro-white.
I want to read this diary that he had.
And I think he also was a poster on like 4chan too, or he adopted ideas from of course.
June 16th.
Yeah.
I saw another black person. My day was ruined. Like, what the fuck? This guy's a fucking loser, dude.
I add another one that I'm going to kill to the list. But no, what was especially disturbing about this one was he live streamed this shit on Twitch.
Oh.
Yeah, he live streamed this shit, bro. I mean, the feed got cut off, I think, about 2.5 minutes into it because people recognized, what
was happening?
Yeah, bro, I saw the video.
I can't watch that shit, man.
It's fucking brutal, dude. So he starts recording from him in the car, driving up to the market. Mm-hmm. So he's on the road, pulls into the market, parks right in front of the entrance. I don't even think he turns off his engine. He puts it in park. Literally, as soon as he gets out, he starts firing. First person he sees. I think murders them. I think he shoots him like twice. But yeah, this was racially motivated, and he was targeting black people. specifically. That's why he went to the neighborhood that he went to and went to the market that he went to, because he knew it was a market that predominantly had African-American customers. So another one of those incidents.
Do you know how many people passed away?
Double digit.
Oh, damn, it's up there, huh?
Yeah, I think it was like 11. Let me double check.
You know what the crazy thing about this is too? It's just we do have a lot of these conversations in this country where I do agree racism obviously isn't as bad as it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But there's still a handful of people out there that denies that racism exists in this country. And I don't understand what the stance is on that. You can recognize that racism isn't as bad as it was 30, 40 years ago, but you can also recognize that racism is still prevalent and still around.
I would argue racism is more or less the same. It's just that the laws have changed, right? To favor equal rights, Right?
Yeah. So yeah, we can probably all agree that obviously like during the times of, people's grandparents, and then it's substantially better now, in terms of laws and stuff, but racial sentiments still are around. And you can see it in cases like this. I mean, and once again, it goes back to just, I wonder where the empathy is for people, right? Where they see this and they go, well, that was just a crazy person. It doesn't mean anything. Why is that the first thing out of your fucking mouth?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like, I want to understand people's objective. What is your objective? Is your objective to say that to be like, ha, I told you so? Or is your objective just to say, well, by the way, I want to be right about something, and I'm sick and tired of white people getting pushed around, which I don't know where the fuck you're getting that from, but I do see that. It's like, should I always feel guilty? I don't think that's the case, right? I think when we have a conversation about racism with people who are white Americans, I do understand where sometimes they feel like, okay, how long do I have to apologize for? I think that's a very bad take on it. It's not a sense of you have to apologize for what your ancestors did. It's when you want to tell somebody that it's not a big deal because it's not you in their shoes.
Right.
You go, well, that was like, I don't know, 60 years ago. Why are you shitting on me for this? It's not that. It's just you have an attitude of denying that this has had a ripple effect of repercussions to these people who are right before you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those type of stuff transfers over. There's generational trauma that happens a lot.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure that they've had their own personal generational trauma, whether they came, I don't know, from Europe, from a poor country or whatever. And if you can recognize that, you can understand how slavery, or even not just slavery, like systemic racism, which was put into law here, where we had to have separate bathrooms, where they couldn't eat in the same diner. There's people who are alive till this day that still experience that. It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't.
So it's not about you feeling personal guilt for it. I think it's more of an issue of you denying that people have experienced this.
Or that there's no inequality. Yeah. Even like, what are you talking about? It's the same for me as it is for you. No, it's fucking not, man. Yeah. No, it's not. It's never been. It probably never will be. It's sad to say that, but that's the fucking reality of it.
We have a mutual friend too, where she was telling us about her husband who was, who at the time kind of understood, like, as a black man, was like, okay, I understand what's going on in this country with my people, but maybe some of these situations aren't as bad as people say it. Well, he had a personal experience too, where, I mean, she could come on the podcast and tell the story because it's fucking nuts and I might be butchering it right now, but he essentially was on a train. And this is a guy who is a professional. He's like in a suit and everything else like that. Gets into an altercation with the cop because he fell asleep on the train, and they tased him and they beat the shit out of him.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I'm talking about
because he fell asleep?
He had his work tag.
Oh my God.
On him. Like his work tag on him. And he has like a briefcase and a suit and the whole shebang. And he fell asleep on him. They were treating him like he was a like some crackhead or a junkie, which even then, if he was, you still shouldn't be treating people like that. But she was on the phone with him as he was being like interrogated, and they tased his ass.
What can you do but fucking laugh because it's so ridiculous?
It's fucking ridiculous.
So ridiculous that it's like comical, But I mean, fuck, man. Add that to the infinite list of other incidents like that happen across this country on a daily basis that we just don't hear about or know about. But we can say with certain level of certainty that it is happening. By the way, the Buffalo count, it's a 10 were killed and 3 were wounded.
That's crazy.
So, but
could you imagine? Like you just walk out and you're going, I don't know what store he shot up.
Yeah, it's a local chain. I had never heard of it before.
It's like a grocery store or something?
Yeah, no, that's seriously exactly what it, like a woman is just walking and then she just gets shot, killed. Why? Someone shopping in the store, shot and killed. And then people start to realize, oh shit, something's going on. People start scrambling, running away, panicking. But yeah, dude, like, can you imagine just fucking looking, oh, you know, what kind of cereal should I, boom.
Dead.
That's it. You're fucking dead. Or even worse, you see a fucking loved one get killed to death like that. What if you survived the shot? You know, I mean, yeah, it's just.
Yeah, and I know. I wonder too if it comes with age when people start to realize like the gravity of the situation. You know, there's a lot of people in this country, or just people in general, who are blessed with very peaceful and calm lives, and they never had to be faced with a situation where you lost somebody through death, you know, or somebody to be taken away very abruptly in their life. So it's like, how do you explain to people the tragedy? And I think what happens too is a lot of us have become so desensitized because of this shit happening so frequently that when they hear these stories, it doesn't really rock them.
Yeah.
Because think about it like this stuff is all over the news, quote unquote, right? But Sandy Hook, which was fucking nuts, and their numbers aren't that far off from this one.
Yeah, this is the worst one since Sandy Hook. Yeah.
And TikTok is still TikToking like it normally is. Instagram is still going like it normally is.
Yep.
And it's so sad because now I understand. It's like, oh, because this subject doesn't give you social currency and credit. And because not your favorite celebrities aren't talking about it right now, because there aren't people protesting out in the middle of the streets.
Yeah.
There's no crazy amount of social media coverage. You just don't care.
Yeah.
But if there was, you would feel an urge to make a post about this. But I checked all of Instagram today. Maybe 2 people talked about it.
Yeah.
How fucking crazy. And this is one of the biggest mass massacres, specifically of children, since the Sandy Hook incident. And the Sandy Hook incident, by the way, has documentaries about it because of how fucking insane it was.
Exactly, man. And look, you don't have to have gone through anything remotely close to feel a sense of like compassion and disgust and anger from seeing this. Like, come on, man. Imagine your fucking little brother, little sister, your cousin, your nephew, your niece was one of these kids who were just fucking sitting in class at school, and then this crazy motherfucker comes in there and shoots him in the head and kills him. You know, like, just imagine that. You know what I mean? You don't have to have experienced violence ever in your life to recognize how fucking foul and terrible of an incident this is.
True. But once again, I feel like a lot of young people aren't even connected to people.
They don't care
place.
because you just said it, man. This fucking social currency. This shit ain't gonna give me likes. This shit ain't gonna give me fucking clout. Like, oh, let me hop on this next dance trend. Matter of fact, let me hop on this TikTok dance challenge. It's so fucking sad, man. And look, I'm a fucking nobody on social media. I don't have a platform, but like, that's why I try to make an active effort to share like these big news, because if even one person looks at that and maybe they weren't aware of it and they think, oh my God, this is fucking terrible. Because it's all about awareness, right? It starts with awareness. And so, yeah, it does deeply fucking disturb me when I see what you mentioned, like things like this happen and it's just like nothing happened.
Yeah.
If you're on these social media platforms, you would have no fucking clue that something like this even happened.
Well, the crazy thing is too, like I look at social media, you know, and my idea and view of social media changes constantly now.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see this, you know, I'm really starting to believe that social media, like stuff like quick content like TikTok, is honestly becoming like the downfall of human society.
Yeah, it is.
And I know it sounds like I'm being very hyperbolic, like I'm exaggerating this shit. But I want you guys to understand just this. And I'm not against social media created this lifestyle that I have now, right? But I feel like because I'm in an earlier generation, I balance it out a lot better than most people do, right? But now it's very odd how your value is tied to this thing. Everything, your life, your self-worth, whatever the fuck that it is, and the dumber and more outlandish things that you do is constantly rewarded. You get this endorphin hit of like, yo, okay, so I did this fake video where I pretended to be mad at my girlfriend and I fake these social justice stuff, and I get more views, I get more likes. And now this is becoming a standard of what a high society person is. It's like, oh, the most valued people aren't based on their skill and their intellect anymore. It's based on how outlandish they are.
Yeah.
So our value of an elite human being has nothing to do with skill or intelligence now.
Yeah.
Has everything to do with what you did to make sure that you were the most known. The idea of a celebrity too isn't based on skill.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not at all. It's some of these people. You're like, what is it that you do? What are you famous for?
Like, what is an influencer?
Yeah.
Oh, I pose.
Yeah. I pose.
Yeah. You know?
Come again?
Like, excuse me? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Can you elaborate?
But this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Our level of revelry for these people of high skills are people without skills. And they are the people at the top of society now.
Yeah.
It's maybe not the top of society, but in your general community, they're
in an elite circle of like influence.
And now these people are what the young people are trying to imitate. When you ask people like in these elementary schools, like teachers, you'll see what a majority of what these kids say. They go, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
They say YouTuber, TikToker.
Yeah. Streamer.
Streamer.
Yeah.
Not cop, not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a business owner, somebody who owns a restaurant, somebody who cooks food, nothing that has to do with actual skill. They're essentially, when they say YouTuber, is not, I want to do this because of this job. I do this because I want people to love me.
Yeah. That's the fucked up part about it is that,
sad.
Dude.
You already know what it is, my friends. This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. So many of you guys have DM'd me, messaged me that you've never tried therapy before, but you tried BetterHelp and now it's an everyday part of your routine. Sometimes every day, sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes tri-monthly. However you like it, BetterHelp has your back. Life can be overwhelming and many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, feeling helpless or trapped, detachment, fatigue, and more. My friends, your mental health is important, and everybody who has tried BetterHelp through this podcast, guess what? I am proud of you. I'm happy that you're getting rid of that negative stigma that therapy has in your head, and you're trying this for yourself and you're getting better, because my friends, I'm right there with you. Been using BetterHelp for quite a while now, and I ain't gonna stop ever. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Genius Brain listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius. That's betterhelp.com/genius.
This type of technology was a blessing in a sense that like some of these talented independent creators who might, for whatever reason, might have not got any recognition or attention. Maybe they're just in a bumfuck nowhere somewhere in the world, right? And they don't have that type of platform. But now all of a sudden, they have this platform to be able to share their skills and their talent, and people can see it and recognize it. But then that started to slowly morph into, okay, what is going to get the most amount of attention in the shortest amount of time? Now it's, okay, how can we get the most amount of likes and views within 11 seconds or less?
Yeah.
That's the motive now. That's the goal. And so what can you really do and say in 11 seconds, right? Not much.
Yeah.
But now there's like a formula people figure out to like squeeze these things in.
Some of the worst videos, and if you're a content creator that watches this and this is what you do, you're a fucking loser. Like, I'm sorry.
Whatever you're going to say, I already agree. I don't even know what it is that you're going to say, but I agree.
A video, and they put a video of them in the corner explaining what we're already watching. How do you live with yourself? How? They go, oh my God, they're lighting that candle on fire. Oh my God, it's melting. Wow, wax melts that fast? Whoa, this is crazy. Oh my God, there's another candle within that candle. Dude, guys, I never expect.
But that's become a trend though,
But the sad thing about that is there's like a couple of videos that do well, and then the other ones get no views. But they still do that because they're still chasing that one video that blew up.
I know.
You are a fucking loser. You offer nothing in terms of skill.
Yeah.
What you do, literally anybody can do.
Yeah.
And I know they say that a lot about stuff that I do, but you literally can't do it.
Yeah.
Number 3, you're a fucking loser.
First, you're a loser. 2, you can't do anything. 3, you're a fucking loser.
And it's like literally, if I had a conversation with this person, I'm like, what do you do for a living? They go, I talk about, I don't even talk about videos. I describe what you're already watching.
I narrate.
And you know what the narrator. Answer to that is like, hey man, they're hustling. Are they? In what sense?
You ain't no motherfucking David Attenborough, bro.
Yeah,
you ain't got that voice.
Yeah, hey, if you were David Attenborough, right, and you're like the candle
Look
wax,
magnificent.
The sea urchin crawls across the seabed in order to look for its prey. Yeah, I might give you some fucking respect.
Yeah,
but you describing candle wax melting.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking needs it.
I don't need a motherfucking narration for
that.
And
the idea behind that too, the majority of the comments is people calling him a fucking loser.
Yeah, that's what's sad, man, in today's society and
culture. I don't get it.
We don't get it, but you know, that's what's sad is it doesn't make sense, but because people are so fucking I guess obsessed with getting likes and with getting views, they're willing to do anything, try anything, even if it's like something that may come off as cringe or embarrassing. In some cases, they even fucking purposely try to be cringe or embarrassing, right? It just so that, again, they can get those likes, they can get those views. But it's like, man, to the young people, I just want to say to them, like, I really would hope you guys can maybe take a week or two, just take a little break from social media, from online shit, and see what it does for your life.
There's no longevity in that shit either.
And look, man, to each their own. Fuck. If they enjoy doing that and they get some sort of fucking fulfillment or satisfaction, happiness from it, then by all means. But when I look at that, I'm just like, come on, man, there's a little more to life than that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I dislike TikTok or fast content. I think it's entertaining. It's dope.
There's there's a place for it.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the mentality and psyche that a lot of people have going into it, thinking that it's going to be their be-all, end-all. And they found out that their success only lasts for less than a year. And they keep searching for this next big hit.
Yeah.
And they keep searching for this over and over and over again. They wonder why they're not valued as a person. That's when this shit becomes fucked up. And that's where a lot of fucking young people are going through right now. Like, you have to understand something. You're basing value into something that's super fleeting, dude. Nobody gives a fuck about you. At the end of the day, when you die and you're waking up miserable every day because you're chasing fucking this idea of love and affection for people who don't give a fuck about you, you're going to end up sad as fuck. I've seen it with so many YouTubers.
Yeah.
And YouTube wasn't even as bad as TikTok is now.
Yeah.
And I've seen these guys collapse. I've seen them fucking they had to go into extensive therapy. They had to disappear for years and come back and learn that this stuff doesn't fucking matter.
Of course, man. Of course. And look, there's no legacy with it. I'm not going to say there's no legacy, but the chances of you leaving behind a legacy are pretty slim because there's so much fucking content and content creators now. You might pop off for 1 week, but you're hot for that day in the week. That's it. And you're forgotten completely. You had that one and done.
That's why people, it's hard to explain. Like, I put out this tweet the other day. It was just a joke, but there's a realness to it. People wonder why I never kept my YouTube play buttons. I had a gold one and a silver one. Mm-hmm. And I didn't.
Oh, that's right. Me being friends with you all this time, I've never realized. Yeah.
I threw it away. It was annoying to keep around when I was moving. It's gigantic. It's huge.
You're like, fuck this shit.
I threw it away.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
Like it's not me trying to say like, oh, I'm better than this. It's just, I genuinely just don't care for it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I remember too, like the moment I hit 500,000 followers, I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that number didn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you notice on my channel, I never really followed trends. Like whatever trend was hot at the time, you never saw it on my channel.
Right.
And the reason why wasn't because I was trying to be different. I just wasn't genuinely interested in it.
Yeah.
And so if I wasn't interested in doing something like this, which is completely left up to my choice, then I might as well just work a 9 to 5. Because if it's just for a paycheck, there's other jobs that make a lot more money than this, or a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot more stable.
Yeah.
And I would have done that instead.
Yeah. And look, me as your friend, you know, we've been friends for how long now? Like 8 years, something like that. Me just kind of like getting an inside look at how you worked and what your creative process was like. it's something that, I told you this before too, that I respected and admired, because at the time, like your generation of content creators on YouTube, what they were doing, right? A lot of them, I was like, this shit is pretty whack. And from a standpoint of like, you could clearly tell they don't have like that creative inclination. And not only that, their work ethic is just not there. It shows in the quality of the work. But then for you, like how much you cared about the content and like the creativity behind it. And then, it's a testament though, because look at where you are now in terms of staying relevant through all those years. Look at all the content creators that you came up with. How many of them are relevant today?
Not a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a testament to like you staying in your lane and doing what you feel like brings you some sort of fulfillment, scratches that creative itch, and makes you feel like this is not a 9 to 5.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I focused on too was I stopped worrying about new followers. I started caring about the people who stuck with me since day one.
Your community.
Yeah, and that community to me matters more than the people who are going to come in later. Not to say that new followers don't matter.
Yeah.
But I can't keep catering to a new audience that aren't going to stick around.
It's never ending fucking thing.
Yeah, there's people that I've met that followed me for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they still follow me till this day. They still wait for these videos. They're waiting for vlogs to happen, even though most likely it's not going to happen again. But it's very much appreciated, right? And that type of effort matters. And to tie it back to just kind of what we were talking about before, you might think it's an exaggeration when I say it's like the downfall of society, but I don't see us rebounding back from this. I don't see us rebounding back from a society where people are just glued to their phones 24/7. And I fall into that category too, where I see myself on my phone a little bit too often, right? Albeit my living is based off of it. But there's a reason why I haven't really made such efforts to be a part of the whole entertainment machine.
Yeah.
I like where I'm at right now. I like doing what I'm doing. The moment I step over to that other side, I'm at the will and call of this entertainment machine, sucking ass, kissing ass, fucking schmoozing with people, sucking dick, licking clits.
Not only are you kissing ass, you're sucking ass too.
I'm sucking ass.
That's a new one.
I'm trying to suck their heart through their asshole. This is what I'm doing now, you know? And I had a taste of it and it sucks. I dislike it very much. And people are understandably turned off by me because I don't play the game. They go, oh, hey man. And like, I did this at the last little mixer event that I was at. Person comes up to me, won't say their name. And they go, dude, man, I love your shit. I watch your stuff all the time. I was like, what was my last video? They started stuttering and I saw sweat coming off their face. I was like, I'm just giving you shit, bro. I was like, you don't got to say
don't say that if you don't fucking mean it. Just
like,
come up and say what's up.
I was like, you don't got to like all my shit. Like, you don't have to do all that shit, bro. I was like, leave that Hollywood shit at the door. Like, just say you used to watch my shit and you like what I did.
Or just say what's up. You know what I mean? Just introduce yourself as a person.
Like, oh yeah, my bad, man. She's Hollywood shit. I just, I kind of say that shit real fast. It's like, I get it, but I'm not really Hollywood, so you don't need to do all that stuff.
Is that when you showed him your ass cheek, you last suck it?
Yeah. I was like, listen, well, now it's time for me to suck your ass. So spread it open, and I sucked all the way through. And he had corn that day. I could tell. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. If you have any suggestions or thoughts about like gun control, and this is obviously something that I don't really know too much about.
Yeah, let's preface it too. Is we're not saying we're authorities on this topic or that we know everything, all the ins and outs. We're expressing our opinions and our outlook on it, and like in light of these recent incidents, which I think universally people should be able to agree on is fucking heinous, is terrible. It shouldn't happen. And what can we do to make sure it doesn't happen?
All I know is that apparently if you write journals and diaries like a little fucking loser, apparently the next step is to shoot up a school. That's your legacy, dude. You fucking diary writing bitch. What a loser. You could check Edric out at Ed2 on Instagram and also Secret Society. This is coming out this week. So probably the week after, we're going to be launching our spring summer launch. It was supposed to be
vintage use.
If you see what I got on.
Yeah, shit, what we got on right now.
Yeah, man, this shit
you see this. I wonder if that reads, if it.
Probably not.
Yeah. But anyway, this is like a vinyl heat transfer that's on here. It might look matte gray for those of you who might be watching, but based on the light, the intensity and how the angle it hits it, you see a spectrum of different colors, which is super fucking dope.
Yeah. Well, Well, guys, catch Genius Brain every Sundays at 12 p.m. Secret Society. That's SCRTSOCIETY.com. Look for that new drop. If not, we have our Back to Basics collection, which should be filling up your closets either way, because you can match anything and everything with this. The hat, by the way, is from the Back to Basics collection. It goes with the vintage hues. It goes with everything.
Yeah. It's all mix and match. Mix and match.
We'll see you all next time. Peace.
All right. Peace.